Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Two brand new RAIKA cards revealed for Infinite Forbidden. I have really high hopes for these. I think this archetype is one of the really low-key kind of things I'm not hearing too many people talk about, but I already think this archetype will be better in the TCG than the OCG because it's a combo-oriented deck. We tend to like those decks more in the OCG anyway, and it really hates Max C, which we don't have. So just in general, I think it has already better legs in our format than theirs. But also, this is an archetype that has a really great start, so it doesn't need much, it just needs some really good follow-up to their initial support. So hopefully these two cards do it for us. Let's get into this thing. Let's start off with our first card here. The main deck monster is RAIKA no Himejanome? I don't know. It's a level 4 Earth Insect, just super Trap Tricks vibes. Attack is 1800. And no defense. I guess 0 defense. Okay. You can only use the first and second effects of this card once per turn. You can discard this card to special summon one insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand. Okay. Not the most impressive effect, but it does make it so that I've seen lists that play this deck in the OCG and they already play something like Lone Fire Blossom. So just having easier ways to not auto lose to Ash, so that way you're not using Lone Fires like your normal summon every time is something. Okay. If this card is banished from the hand or graveyard, you can activate this effect. During the end phase of this turn, draw cards equal to the number of different types among insect, plant, and reptile monsters you control. Okay, so banishing these guys from the graveyard, I believe, is super easy and standard throughout most of your simple lines. And then normally you're ending on at least 2 of the 3, I think. You may not always end on all 3 types, but usually I think you're ending on at least 2 for just a pot of greed at the end of the turn. So a little bit slow, but I could still see this being a one-off in the deck just to basically, if you can get it in rotation, because I think the deck has ways to dump, the deck has ways to search these out, and if you already have one in hand, this can pull something out of the hand and then banish it later on. I think this has legs. If we can just get this banished super easily every turn, drawing at least 1. This is drawing at least 1, and that's worst case scenario. And you have ways to rotate this every turn. Not bad, especially if you're able to play this deck with a good amount of non-engine, right? Or even you play it with a B-Trooper type list, and maybe you're able to rip a Sting Lancer off the top of the deck. A Retaliating Sea, if that's something spicy that is searchable that you want to play in a certain format, right? There's definitely some cool cards you can be ripping on end phase that still have really good power going into the opponent's turn. Interesting card. I'm not going to say this is a broken card by any means, because it isn't really that much of an engine card. It's more of a payoff card, but we'll take it. Still cool. Alright, and the next one is a Link 3. Obviously, Link's going to be crazy. Let's see how this one goes. This is RAIKA no Kuroka Mitsuki. That's this guy here. I can't even fully tell what's going on with him. I couldn't even tell you whether I think that's a reptile, insect, or plant. Looks like it is a reptile. Okay. He points to the left, he points to the right, and he points straight down. His materials are any 2 insect, plant, and or reptiles. Classic for this archetype. 2 hard ones for turns. You can banish up to 2 monsters from your graveyard, then target the same number of spells and traps on your opponent's field. Destroy those cards. Okay, so we have a spell and trap removal card here. While this card is in the graveyard, target an insect or plant reptile on the field. Place that monster on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon this card, but you're locked into insects, plants, and reptiles for the turn. Okay. Not an amazing card, right? Just spell and trap removal. That's the downside to me. I don't it's not a quick effect. It's just a main phase effect. I'm not entirely sure why they didn't just make this cards or face-up cards on the field. It still has utility. It still probably is a one-of in the deck, just because, listen, the coolest thing about this deck is the grindability and rotation effect of all of the links, right? Any link you put engraved from this archetype, if you can just stick any insect, plant, or reptile on the field later on in the duel, they all just can jump back on the field, and you can just stack really big monsters super quickly once again, just by normal summoning anything basically later on in the duel without even having actual a starter card. And that's really cool. And so the utility of this card, like being able to, on a follow-up turn, like reborn itself, pop 2 back row, up to 2 back row if you want, then put this back to summon another big one that's maybe an interruption or a bigger body and lets you run over stuff, then you're just getting the utility of everything all in one turn, which is really, really strong. So interesting. Okay, these are nice cards to me. They don't blow me away, though. They're cool utility cards. They do add more to what the deck does, because I think one of the big complaints for the archetype so far was its end board is weird. Like the type of interruption the deck ends on they're not bad interruptions, but they don't feel like they're enough. And so I at least like this card for that factor, in that if you're doing the same thing you were doing before, but you are going through this card, and it's not a full-on brick or anything, right? Like, it's not like a brick, but if you're able to just also get this in rotation and banish it, then you are also drawing 1 to 3 cards on end phase with 12 plus hand traps, 9 engine, whatever. Draw 3, draw 1 to 3 more extra interruptions in the form of hand traps. That can be the difference. So I do like that card for that, but it is still some RNG based on that, but at least it gives you more follow-up as well. And then this was just spell and trap removal. That's really all it is. Again, just kind of wish that was cards, not just spells and traps, but it still probably finds a way into the X-Trick as a one-of, just for, you know, your back row based matchups. They're not going to be everywhere, but they do exist. Pure Kashtira is a thing. You know, Labyrinth is a thing. There are decks like that where you really don't want them to leave be able to maintain all their stuff on field. So cool wave. I really hope we get one more wave after this. That's one thing I really hope for, is that this isn't like the final wave and then they're just leaving this archetype alone for the next 2 years, which is like kind of the pattern they've been on for new archetypes. So cool stuff. Hopefully one more, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm out of here for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below on these cards. Is there anything I may have missed that you think is definitely worth noting about these and how they synergize with maybe not just the RAIKA cards that exist, but also the plant, reptile, and insect archetypes that already exist that you think there maybe could be a little bit of extra synergy there as well. But I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.